Hello, hello, everyone. We are live. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dr. Nelva Bryant from When Pets Fly. This is the Veterinary Air Travel Podcast. Thank you for joining us again this week. I have a great guest with us today, but before I get into that, we'll share a little bit about myself and what I've been doing these past few years, and then I'll introduce. Oh, actually, I'll have our guest introduce herself. But I'm Dr. Nelva Bryant. I'm a veterinarian. I have been working within the airline industry for the past 8 years. And with that experience and knowledge, I actually developed When Pets Fly. It's a way to share pet-centric travel education. And you might wonder, why did I see it? It's because I noticed that pets aren't properly prepared for air travel. The focus all the time has been on logistics more than anything, as far as saying, traveling a pet, you need a crate, you need the health certificate, and of course you get your ticket and then you get off your way to your journey. But you know what? You didn't focus on your pet because technically you have, say, the health certificate and all that stuff. The health certificate itself does not travel with your pet. Your pet travels. So I've been sharing pet-centric travel education on a national platforms with AVMA, Western Veterinary Conference here in Georgia with GVMA. So I've been sharing information really just to get the information out to fellow veterinarians and my pet owners on how to prepare their pets for air travel, focusing on them. I started this actually about 6 years ago. And if you want to check me out, I do have a website. I have social media presence on Facebook, Instagram. The website, is www.winpets.com. And I'm on LinkedIn. And I've been doing these podcasts these past good 5 years actually for the podcast. And my guests are different stakeholders in the animal transportation industry that I always say. And I love it. I love it that we get the opportunity to just kind of have a candid talk about what they're doing, their focus, and it's casual. We may make mistakes, so we're not being paid for this. This is a fun conversation with us, but we're sharing information that we feel is valuable for everyone, and specifically people traveling with pets. So let me allow my guest to introduce herself. This is Tanika Hall, the founder of, it used to be ZooDocs, right?
Yes, it used to be ZooDocs.
So please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Tanika Hall. I am the founder of formerly ZooDoc, now Fyndaria. We actually had a really quick name change, as you can see. The main reason why we decided to change the name was because it was causing a lot of SEO issues with ZocDoc. Yeah, and it was just causing us not to be findable, especially in AI. Like when people did AI searches and when they did Google searches, we weren't coming up because of that. So we changed the name to Fyndaria, and we're still working through that right now, actually, that name change.
That's good. That's good. So how long have you been in business? When did you start everything?
So officially, we started ZooDoc last year, June, I think, around June last year. So we've been in business for like a year and 2 months right now. So not that very long, actually. But I have been in different industries over my lifetime. But this particular business, about a year and 2 months.
Yeah. Well, what made you, since you were in other industries, what made you focus on this one here? Was there a personal need or something you saw with it?
So originally for ZooDoc, it was because at the time, like a couple years ago, my family loves animals. We have a lot of pets. I literally have 4 cats, a dog, and 2 turtles right now. So we always have a lot of pets, including exotics. And my daughter had a frog, and the frog got sick. And I could not find a vet for that sick frog to save my life. I called around to so many vets everywhere, all over the place, until one vet told me, oh yeah, you can go see this vet in Marietta, and that vet will be able to see your frog. And then, made an appointment. The vet was able to see the frog and diagnose, and the frog was fine, obviously. And so I looked at that and I said, there should be an easier way for you to find any kind of vet you want for any specialty, any kind of like type of pet. And so that's how I started ZooDoc. And then, we worked on the platform. I did a lot of the initial data seeding for the platform. I used different tools. I'm a coder. I'm an engineer by design. So I use like Python and things like that to kind of seed the website and build the initial website for us. As time has gone by, I've seen that, this kind of thing that I built is not necessarily as needed anymore because we have AI now, right? That AI is so mature right now that you can really just type in, I need a vet here, and you can get to it. But it's still useful for people that don't use AI on a daily basis. They
Mhm.
can still use the website to do that to this day.
Yeah.
So in terms of like Fyndaria and like switching to Fyndaria, and switching to travel, I was actually just like, I travel a lot. Like I've traveled all over the world, to all different places. And I was like, I wanted to take my dog actually to
Mhm.
Paris.
I was gonna ask, have you traveled with your pets before?
Yeah, no, but it was just so much. It was so overwhelming for me
Yeah.
that I didn't take her. It was
Okay.
just too overwhelming. And I was like, there's got to be like a way to do this that's not overwhelming without actually costing like $1 billion,
Mhm.
or really causing your pocketbook to go to scream, basically.
Yeah, I can
And
imagine a person trying to do this by themselves, and
yes,
there needs to be, and there, it's a valuable service that you're providing because, as you're saying, not sure where to find the information. A lot of folks go to Facebook or IG, and there's groups
yes,
out there, but a lot
yes,
of times these groups are giving information to get around, say, policies or get around something like little loopholes to
yes,
go through systems, and
yes,
that's not good. You want to do things the correct way. So, yeah.
yes. And I want to point out that Facebook thing. I see people recommending sedatives for their dogs in cargo and in cabin, and I'm like, don't do that. Do not
Right.
give your dog sedatives.
Right.
That's like I think the American Veterinary Association is against that as well. It's
You're
just
correct.
something that you don't do because it could cause issues during flight. But
Right.
anyway, Facebook
Oh yeah,
groups,
yeah.
don't do
No,
it.
no, but that's what they find. So I'm so happy that you have a resource. So tell me more. Tell me as far as, okay, if someone, how would they I put up your information as far as contacting you. Let me put it
Yeah.
again. But if someone wants to travel with their pet, what's the steps they have to take?
So first of all, they can go to our site and do an intake. We do a free, very simple assessment just to see, is this something that's possible? During that intake, we usually collect just basic information. So the breed, the type of animal. So if it's a dog, cat, fish, bird, lizard, whatever type of animal it is, how much it weighs, where their zip code is, so we can know where they're coming from, and then where they're going to.
Mhm.
So we have all that information so we can do a basic assessment of, is this something that we can do? And of course, the date of travel.
Right.
So from there, when we say, okay, we can do this, this is a case that we're going to take. We then want to have their vaccination records so we can make sure like their microchip and their implant and all of that and their rabies is current, right?
Mhm.
Um, then we want their vaccination records and usually their health records as well. And the reason why we want their health records is that we've had instances where we've had dogs that had maybe cardiac problems.
Yeah.
The dog is like really old. And so we have to assess, is this the safest journey for that animal, right? And so one thing that we do, if the dog is older, if we see that they have some kind of issue like cardiac issue, things like that,
Mhm.
we actually ask them to go see their vet and or a specialist. So if it's like a cardiac issue, they have to see a specialist for that. If it's just like age and just, seeing if that animal is fit to fly, we ask them to just go to their vet and their vet can talk to them. We actually had an animal that was going to Argentina, Buenos Aires,
Okay.
and it was an older animal. And I was like, yeah, your vet has to let us know, is this animal like going to be okay? And, the animal is going to be traveling cargo
Mhm.
for a very long distance to a very hot country. And that animal is quite elderly and has arthritis. So we made the decision that it just wasn't safe for that
I love it.
animal to fly
I, I
that
love it.
distance.
I love it because again, that giving that information is important. It's, the great thing that I see you're doing, and I'm sure a lot of other shippers do the same thing as far as considering that, but you're focusing really primarily on the welfare of that pet first more than anything.
Yes.
Yes, you could be making money or you're losing money by saying no to that person, but you're focusing on that welfare and safety of that pet. And that's really important. I
Yes.
mean, and again, I go back to, as I said before, pet centric travel education, really focusing on that pet, making sure they're fit to fly, And there's other features a part of it too, as far as being ready for them to fly, but make sure they're ready medically. Making sure they're ready, let me go in further, medically, acclimated to being in their crate, because for those going by cargo, that could be traumatic. Imagine you've never been in a crate before and all of a sudden you're in a crate. What the heck? I mean, dogs will try to break out. Even cats, they'll try to break out of it.
I mean, I would try to break out. I've been in a crate.
What is going on? So you have to make sure they're properly prepared with that, right crate that's compliant.
Yes.
IATA. As far as all the regulations, I always say regulatory requirements. And you're doing that. You're making sure all the stuff for your destination, make sure that's right. But also, don't forget airline policies, because you can complete a health certificate and meet the requirements of that destination. But if you
not the airline,
you're not going anywhere. And then the fifth thing that's most important lately is there's more biosecurity as far as assessments, because there's a lot of diseases potentially that can go along with your pet. New World screwworm, that's huge and surprising. But there's other diseases that folks don't think about either. You can go to a country and let's see, over in Europe and other countries over in Europe, there's leishmania, which is transmitted by a sandfly, and just doing an insect bite, your pet can get that and come back and have something weird happen. We don't have that here in the US, so that's going to be weird. Brucella canis, all these different things they can be exposed to. You got to be sure they're ready. So I love that you're putting the animal folks on.
And I want to say about like the crate and the carrier. For all the pet parents, I actually give them an acclimation guide, literally. Full acclimation guide. I also give them a guide that says, okay, when you get to the airport, like a lot of animals don't like to pee in the airport potty. I give them a guide to help them prepare their animals for that, help them with the animal while they're on the plane. Like it's a full thing, because at the end of the day, you want the animal to be comfortable and happy. Yeah.
They're going through this, so you have to have them prepared for it. You can't just look, like you might say to your child, hey, you're going to be on a plane. No, this is your pet. They may not understand exactly what's going on. So let's start preparing them where that crate is like their den, so they feel safe inside of it. And you put a crate out, don't make it as punishment. It's a safety thing for them, and make sure they feel that way. Feed them in it, treats in it, and just really get them comfortable. And I know it's hard for dogs. It might be to get them acclimated. It might be a shorter period of time for that. For cats, it may take longer, and just consider that. But because cats routinely will run if you bring the crate out. If they're going to go into the groomer or veterinary,
cats.
So maybe keep the crate out. It may not fit the decor of your living room or what have you, but keep the crate out so they can see it as safety zone.
That's what I tell them, to keep it out. The same stuff that you've said is basically what I say. For both the carriers too. So I do it for the carrier and the actual like crate. Like both of those, you have to acclimate them. Don't just shove them in there.
That's the last minute. Sad thing about it is that folks do that. And then also another thing that I know that we had, as far as educating folks on, the carriers going in cabin. What I see a lot of folks doing right now is they're putting dogs that are actually too big for the carriers itself, and you're really impacting your dog as far as their ventilation. There has been a few things in the social media hitting the news where dogs have died because they, almost in a sense, they overheated and probably suffocated being in that environment. But it's because they were probably too big. They were brachycephalic, snub nose, or French bulldog or something like that breed, and they can't breathe. But you shoved them in this thing that was too small, they're stressed, not proper ventilation, and there you go. And you can't blame nobody
but yourself
for that.
And speaking of those carriers, we also make them measure the dogs and the cats for the carriers. Like I'm extra. I don't I'm really extra about everything. But we make them measure and send pictures. I want to see them in there. Don't.
Perfect. I love it because I know for cats in general, I've seen situations where cats they put them in the smallest crate size. I think it's a 100 series. Put them in that, saying, "Oh, they don't need to move." They're supposed to stand up too. I mean, cats, yes, they crouch down and yes, they lounge that way, but they should be able to stand up and turn about as well. So
stretch out. They should be able to stretch out for sure.
A lot of stuff that folks don't even think, but always go back to say, a lot of times folks say they love their pet, and I know they love their pets,
They
but
do.
no,
Yes.
they don't realize what they're subjecting them to. You
Yeah.
know?
Which is why I send guides to everybody. I'm
Yeah.
all about the guides. Like, here you go. Please follow this. If it's like, sometimes we have like clients that are like, they're leaving in like 10 days, like, because there's
Mhm.
an emergency somewhere, which happens. It happens, right? And so I send them a quick acclimation guide. I'm like, okay, you still need to get them acclimated as quickly as possible.
Mhm.
Follow this. And then,
Mhm.
of course, the whole airport guide of you have to get them to be able to use the restroom in the airport because you want them to use it before they go on the plane, if
Yeah.
possible. Please, please.
Yep.
Or walk them,
They need
whatever.
a good potty break, a good walk to have a
Yes.
potty break, tire them out, a little bit of food, say 4 hours prior, a little bit of water. For cats,
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how much you can exercise a cat, but just make sure they can get a break before you go with
Yes.
them. But all important to get them ready. Hey, just had a thought for you too. So what animals have you experienced transporting?
It's mostly been dogs and cats, to be honest. We've had some clients that have requested like fish. This lady wanted us to transport a parrot from the Amazon, which we declined
Yep.
because it's a protected species.
Yep. Okay.
Um, yeah, we're just not going to do it.
Well,
And then the guy with the snake that wanted to travel with his snake in a book bag, and I was like, you can't travel with a boa in a book bag.
well,
Like,
let's
just
back
no
up.
way.
You hit two things I think we could talk about a little bit to just get some education out there. If
Okay.
you have a bird species that particularly that in the US it might be fine, but traveling out of the US or coming into the US, if they're considered endangered, and actually what the Amazon parrot, I believe, African gray, one of them, they're actually
They're,
endangered.
they are endangered. This parrot was
So,
endangered for
so
sure.
within the domestic U.S., as far as continental U.S. or domestically, there's no forms or required transporting domestically. But if you're going out of the country or coming into our country, then you need special permits, CITES permit. And I'm sorry, I don't remember what everything the CITES stands for, but it's a specific permit that's needed because
Yes.
they are endangered. So we
And
can't just easily
you
transport
have to
them.
prove chain of custody. You have to prove
Mhm.
that it was bred in captivity or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
That you didn't just like go to the Amazon and just get it from a tree,
And
which probably is what happened because they were like, "Oh, we got it from this guy on the side of the road." I was
oh,
like,
come on. Yeah, that's crazy. That's
"I can't
crazy.
help you, lady."
But that's sad because folks don't realize that stuff in what unfortunately would happen in situations like imagine them showing up to the airport thinking they're coming home
Oh no.
with this bird and then they're denied because the airlines much as everyone thinks that it's not an airline policy per se, but the airlines know that certain species have to have certain documentation, so they're going to
Yes.
ask you about it. So so trying to go through and let them know they're going to stop it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not promoting folks trying to smuggle or anything like that. That's bad too. So don't smuggle it. You're putting the animals in danger, and it's really bad. But do
Yeah.
things the right way, as you said. Let's do things the correct way, following policies and procedures. If you have a bird that's considered endangered, you have to have all the right procedures in place. Not saying you can't do it. It's not saying
You
you can't.
can with
You
the
can't.
right
You
paperwork.
have to do it the right way. And
Yeah.
let's do it the right way for the safety and welfare of that species too. Let's do it the right way. Yeah.
I agree.
Now your snake situation, boy, oh boy. Somebody wants to transport a snake in a backpack? Come on.
Yes, a backpack.
Come
They
on.
wanted, where were they going? They were going to maybe Ecuador or something, somewhere in South America or Middle America or whatever.
Mhm.
But they wanted to travel with this snake in a backpack. They also had like 6 other animals that they were going to transport as well. And they wanted to go on a commercial flight with the snake in the backpack. I was like, no, you
Not
can't do
happening.
that.
Not
That's not
happening.
going to happen. Yeah.
Only as far as traveling in cabin with a pet. Now, if you're traveling internationally, most airlines are definitely going to allow your dogs and your cats. Um, Domestically, they may allow birds, but internationally, most of the time it's limited to our common species for the dogs and cats, and that's about it.
Exactly.
You have a reptile, pocket pet, your hamster, gerbil, or whatever, or or sometimes even live tropical fish. I've had folks with try to bring fish in a bag in cabin. That's not allowed. But again, I would say also before you do a check with you would know better, but check with your airline as far as their requirements, because sometimes depending on where you're going to, they may not even allow you to transport pets in cabin. So pay attention to detail too.
Or in cargo for that matter. Like it depends on where you're going, and it depends on the airline's policy. We had a whole situation with Emirates the other day, and the client had a service dog, and Emirates just made up rules, to be honest, for them not to be able to travel. It just, it's just interesting. You have to check the airlines.
But it's funny though. But I mean, I don't know about the airline air changes, but I do know there's certain destinations that they require that even if it is a service dog, that it may be required to go as cargo.
Yes.
Which, and everything.
I think in Australia is one of those, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
They're strict to the heavens of strictness.
Yes. So folks have to be mindful of that when they're traveling. So again, you have to meet. It is complicated, but that's why there's a lot of us working to try to streamline this process for everyone, because it is complicated when you're trying to do it by yourself. But you have to make sure, as far as meeting requirements, get that health certificate, make sure you meet the requirements of that destination. Also make sure you meet the requirements for
the airline. Yes.
And again, pet has to be healthy, all the things in order for that. So there's a lot of things that come together to ensure the safety of your pet. Not simple.
It's not just a certificate in any way. It is a whole thing. Like it's just a whole thing.
You make me think of snakes. Look, trust me, I am personally, okay, it's so weird for me being a veterinarian, because if someone brought in a snake, well, actually, I never really liked snakes, period, so I wouldn't see it in practice, but snakes scare me. So I'm just like, you have a snake
on a plane
you in your backpack? How scary is that? I had to look.
It's a big snake. It's a boa, so it's a big snake. So it's just curled up in the backpack.
Oh, that's scary. Yeah. No, that wouldn't be me.
He would like go through the security. They would see it in the backpack, and they would freak out.
I'm telling you, that's how he would be found out, because it would go through the scanner, because he's not going to take it out there. He's not going to show that he has it. He's going to leave it in the bag, and then it'll show on a monitor that it's a snake. And there, basically, it'll be all over social media. Person trying to smuggle it, basically, they won't say he's tried to smuggle. They'll just say he wasn't aware of the policy or something. But no, you cannot bring a snake in cabin, or I would say any airline. And I don't even have to guess or look that up. I know for a fact you cannot bring any type of snake. Snakes on a plane, basically. No, you will not have a snake.
That's what I was thinking. Snakes on a plane.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But I get it. He doesn't want to be separated from his snake. I get it. I completely understand the emotional aspect of it. And like sometimes managing that is really hard. That this is not me saying no to you, to be honest. This is just the government. Like to say that. This is the government, the US government, please. And the airlines.
I think for the airline, that's an airline policy. But then he just has to understand there's a certain way that the airlines will certain ways they'll transfer certain animals. Yes. Period.
Yes, you like the fish, right?
I think I said, say it again.
Like the fish. We were talking about that earlier.
You can do live tropical fish. They just have to be packaged a certain way in oxygenated water, and they can go by cargo. And that's just the way it is, and everything. So not every animal can go. Well, as we were talking prior to this, not every animal can go on a commercial airline, and folks have to realize that too. You can get horses, or horses have to be on freighters. Yeah, elephant. They're on freighter, just cargo only aircrafts kind of things. The FedExes do stuff like that. But your routine dog, cat, smaller species, there's a way. But again, snakes, they have to be packaged a certain way. We don't want them to break out of the container and be in the cargo hold or getting loose.
Gosh, that would be snakes on a plane for real.
Yeah. So there's a certain way to package, and there's a certain way. When I say package, as far as the crate and container, they're all considered really the package for the animal. There's a certain way that they have to be transported, going by cargo, and the standards for that is the International Air Transport Association. So they have all the requirements for all species of animals. So follow that, and you got it. But Oh, and it will make me think about it. Trust me, I've seen. There was a meme out. They showed this on this aircraft. Looks like someone had was transporting a bunch of snakes, and they didn't package them properly because the package broke open, and it was the little thing, the what is it called? The thing that travels up into the aircraft. They put the box on there, and snakes were just pulling all out of the.
Oh my gosh!
Onto the tarmac and everything. It was like you didn't package it properly. There's a certain way you must package these animals, and actually they're supposed to be within bags inside the container. So they're in a bag, and then like a cloth bag, and then they're placed inside the container, and then they get transported that way. So, yeah.
I don't know what happened to that guy. He probably got a private plane or something because the
number of animals he had, he probably is best bet for him to get something private to do it because it's a lot.
I agree. I think that's what I suggested. Actually, I was like, you should probably do a private plane because that makes sense.
So when did you start pulling in folks as far as saying, you mentioned earlier you had a case where the gentleman, you recommended them getting some veterinary assessments, but that is your normal routine with as far as the information, getting medical histories on animals, if anything as far
that
as
is normal. We want the vaccines and if we can, medical histories. They won't always send it, and that's okay. Like if we calculate the age at least, and we definitely will ask them if the animal is older to go ahead and go to their vet and make sure they're fit to fly. But I
was gonna say, there was someone out that I was surprised they were for a shipper or giving information. In a sense, they were trying to almost bypass veterinary assessments on things, and I thought that was so wrong. A veterinarian has to be within this whole loop as far as shipping with your animals, their assessments and everything. Yes. Because again, who's going to assess that? Number one, you need to examine that pet. Who's going to review their medical history to really see the significance? And you're hitting key points, but there may be other things within that history that can point to some underlying conditions too. Exactly. Another thing, it might be a good question for you to ask folks too on your assessments is maybe ask them, number one, have they traveled before? How do they behave with, do they have any anxiety related to travel or preparation?
I have a story about that. Yeah. I had a client and she wanted to do service dog. She was trying to say her dog was a service dog. We didn't end up working with her, but she was trying to say her dog was a service dog. But then she was like, well, if anybody comes near me, he gets aggressive. And I was like, that's not going to work out as a service dog, ma'am. If your dog gets aggressive when anybody comes near you, they're going to be in a plane with people near him.
Right.
They're going to have to go through security and people are going to be near you, near him. That is not going to work.
That is not
any way, shape, or form.
Wow. But that's crazy. Okay. What type? Service dogs are supposed to supplement whatever disability that person may have. So becoming aggressive, how I
don't know.
The
dog does help her with her anxiety. Okay. Let me be frank.
Okay.
But regardless of that, your dog has to be trained to not be aggressive towards people around you. In a place where there's a bunch of people everywhere, they have to be trained to at least chill out.
Right. Wait, okay. I have to tell this story because I just told someone recently, and it's so funny to me. I was at Western Veterinary Conference earlier this year, and my son and I were walking through, and we figured we'd get some content. And I saw this gentleman that had a service dog, and it was a French bulldog service dog. They had the vest on and everything. Dog was off leash, which was interesting. So I, said, hey, we'd like to, interview you, get some photos and everything. And he's like, sure. Well, while we're talking, his dog, and we're out in the convention. We're not in the convention center itself with all the vendors. We're out in the hallways basically. And his dog spotted another dog across the hall and keyed in on him and shot off running over after it again.
No!
So we ran over, he caught the dog in time, prevented a dog fight and everything like that and everything. And he was like, I don't understand. He's never behaved this way before. He's never done this before. And I was like, well, sir, maybe we could talk later. He's like, no, we're fine. So we continued talking. And I was just like, well, sir, where's his leash? And he says, oh, I didn't think I needed it. Well,
Yes, you do.
so
Oh,
again, he could have been choose. Okay, reality is I have to think about it. Okay, I have to stop judging. It could have been a service dog, but that environment
yes.
is not the right environment for his dog. He should have known his dog may be good at home and may serve
Right.
his need at home, but he's not trained to be in an environment like that and
Right.
and you know provide the service he's supposed to be providing, basically. But
And
either way,
that's
yeah,
fair, right? That's fair.
yeah, yeah. So maybe it could be her service dog, but he's not trained to
Be in
be
an
in
aircraft
settings,
with
in
around
social
other
settings.
people, and that's okay. That's okay.
He's not
He
trained
just
in social settings. But see, the thing about it is, even if that's the case, because it sounds like that if that's the case, then she self-trained her dog, which is fine because there's no certification, there's no
that is
specific
okay.
training out there that's regulated. So that's fine. But she has to realize her dog also has to be trained for the setting.
Yes, I think that was what I was trying to, tell her really. Like you have to get her to a point where she's okay with being
Yeah,
in those places with those people,
yeah,
even if they're coming next to you. And then
yeah,
you're fine.
right. But
So
if yeah, so we have to recognize, and again, instead of us saying quotation service dog, really it could be, but it's not trained for the environment, and folks have to work on that. And
yes.
you really have to work on that, um, because if not, it's going to make it look bad for someone else who's
Other
they have a
service
service dog.
dogs,
You have to
yes. And
realize
then
that it's going to, from an airline standpoint, they can become, well, they can't turn away folks, but they'll start be more scrutinized.
a lot stricter, to be
Yeah,
honest. Yes.
they'll be more stricter with, oh, you say it's a service dog. You okay? What services you provide and the questions they can ask there,
Yes.
and then they can start really paying more attention to your pet. And if
That
and
is literally what happens, right? Like
mhm.
literally the consequence of that is that consequence with
Yeah,
for people that are yeah, that are blind and trying to have their dog on the plane, then they get scrutinized a lot more.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's going to make it harder for the people that really. Not saying they don't need that. It's not a true service
I
dog, but
mean,
it makes it harder for everybody. And
just
just realize
everybody
it's
overall,
going to
yeah.
make it harder for everyone that needs that has that need.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
just train them for the environment. Train them
As
for
well, exactly.
yeah. But I'm telling you, for my story with the gentleman, I didn't laugh at that time with in front of him because I was being, I was just trying to help him, being serious with him. But then later on, like a couple hours later, I was sitting there thinking about the day, and I cracked up laughing. Said it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know if you've seen I got a Frenchie here. When they run out, their legs be
I
kicking.
know they look silly. They look silly. Oh my gosh. I know you were giggling in your head.
Yeah, it was the funniest thing ever. But yeah,
It's very cute. Frenchies are so cute. I can't.
mhm. They run funny. They're cute. So hey, tell me what some common mistakes you've seen families make as far as, or do they come with you with questions, or do they come with you thinking they know the process, or how do
No,
they arrive with
they're
you?
always some come with me knowing the process.
Okay.
For sure. I feel like that's the minority. One common mistake is not asking us first before they book a flight.
Yeah.
Not every airline will allow your pet that's this size, that size in cabin. Not every plane allows cargo. Not every route will work. And
Right.
so part of what we do as well, I created a tool within our CRM with all the airline rules, all the cargo rules that will search, right? Like I collect it and then put it in the tool that will search and say, okay, is this the correct flight that will take your animal? Basically,
Mhm.
is what about I had a lady that had a service dog, a psychiatric service dog, and that service dog was well behaved,
Yes.
but the airline wasn't allowing the service dog on for their particular rules for their country, which is fine.
Okay.
It happens. And so the tool allowed me to find an airline that has, I want to say not as strict rules, but more in line with our DOT rules
Hmm.
so that she can actually have that service dog on the plane at the cheapest price and still get to her destination.
Yeah.
So that is the biggest thing. talk to us first. You know, you're going to book a trip. Talk to us first. Let us make sure that that is a viable trip for you, right?
Mhm. Well, it looks like you check everything. I mean, is there, again, I know you've been a good year in it. Have you noticed any as far as seasonality behind people coming to you, or have you noticed anything like
I
that?
think I think June, July is like a lot of people are
Yeah.
coming. A lot more than anything else, especially just random, like, oh, I decided I want to take my dog with me, actually. Like, I'm like, okay, we can help you with that.
Right.
As long as the airline that they're booked isn't one gonna, that's okay, right? So
Right.
as long as
Right.
it's okay already, I'm like, and they already have their microchip, their vaccines. We had a client that he had lapsed on his rabies, right? But luckily, when he got the new one, because now it counted as a primary,
Mhm.
he had was enough days passed. It was right. It's like 4 days after what would be considered a primary
Mhm.
vaccine timing, where it was okay and he could still take his dog to France. I was like, you are so lucky because you already
Yeah.
booked that flight without even knowing the rules,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the seasonality is about like June, July. Yeah, that's a lot of people are trying to
I would
travel.
imagine that probably more in cabins, probably anyway, if anything, of
Yes,
the
yes, a lot
season.
of in cabins for
Yeah.
sure. And so, what I'm doing now with a lot of that data, and I wanted to just talk about this a little bit,
Mhm.
is I created an engine right now, and I'm seeding all the data about all these countries, all these airlines, all the different requirements for different countries in it. And what the team is able to do with that is actually generate a full timeline of what needs to happen, even if it's a difficult country like Australia or New Zealand or Jamaica is a kind of a crazy one as well. Like there's all these countries that have all their different
Mhm.
rules. So we seed all the information on the import process, the length of time, what titers are needed, what vaccines are needed, what tests are needed, all within that same system. They can just copy and paste lab results in there, upload lab results, even upload just customer emails into the app, and it parses out all the lab results, put it in the right places, parses out all the names of the customers, the animals, their weights, their ages, their microchip numbers, their just everything about them, and it parses this into the app. And what it allows us to do as well is go ahead and just create that VX form specific for that country, automatically download it, and we're able to just send it to the vet automatically and just copy and paste it in VX if we're doing that process as well. And
Mhm.
so I'm going to continue with that, um, with doing these cases and learning and growing with that and making that process and that app as robust as possible.
It sounds wonderful, to be honest with you, because it goes into the timeline. A lot of things. Again, folks will come to
Yes.
you. Hey, worst thing that you can do is come to your veterinary hospital, or even come to give your assistance, say, within 10 days of travel, or thinking
Yes.
that that's the way it should be.
Yes.
It takes longer to complete the international health certificate. Takes longer because there's diagnostic tests that has to be done. There's vaccines, as you mentioned, rabies vaccination. If your pet isn't microchipped, that's going to throw a
Yes.
monkey wrench in it because it has to be microchipped first, then rabies vaccination. So all these things have to come into play. You might need a rabies titer, then you might have a waiting period. All this
Yes.
stuff has to happen. So timelines are important. So if you come within 10 days to get assistance or to your
And
veterinarian,
it's not good. You're
you're not going anywhere. You're
yes.
not.
I've told people to like, girl, you have to move your flight. There's no way.
Yep. Yep.
Like,
So
I don't know what to tell you.
I say as soon as you want to travel or you're thinking about it, there's a possibility of traveling.
Yes.
And I mean, I know I couldn't turn around next week and say, yeah, I'm going to go to Italy. I have to plan this.
Yeah.
So as soon as you decide you want to travel and you think you want to bring your pet, hopefully months out in advance, go seek help then
Yes.
from Tanika, your veterinarian. Just pull them in and start letting them know I want to travel with my pet. What are the requirements? And start
Exactly.
working on it.
Yes.
Because as you mentioned, the most difficult one that I've seen is Australia.
Oh my God, I don't want to talk
It
about
can
it.
take a good 8 months for your pet to meet all the requirements to get there. And then guess what? Once you get into that country, your pet will still be in quarantine too.
Yes.
So it takes a
minimum of 10 days.
Yeah.
If we do it right.
Yep. So it takes a lot of time. You have to be prepared. This is not on a whim decision that, oh yeah, I think we'll just bring them along. And I think, it's interesting to me too. I think people think it's easy to just add a pet on because they think that pet travel is pet friendly and the airlines are pet friendly and they can just bring along. And no. Number one, there's so many regulations within the different airlines. They have all the
they have their own rules.
And then they're in cabin. There be limit the number of animals that can be in cabin.
And some, if they already booked, is it Turkish Airlines? I forget. I don't want to name names, but if a cat's already booked in cabin, no dogs can be in the cabin.
Really?
If a dog's already booked. It's one of them. I forgot which one. But if a dog's already booked in cabin, they won't take any cats. I was like, I forgot one of my. I was like, go and book your animal now. I think they had a cat. I was like,
did not know that.
I was like, book your cat now.
That's interesting to know. I did not know that. You would think it wouldn't matter if they're in their carrier. Why would it matter? I mean, as long as you do they put them in the same location? I mean, maybe something they do with that.
I don't know. And there was all in cabin and they have to be in a carrier. Mm-hmm. So I was very confused.
No. I'm wondering if they're in the same location on the aircraft. Maybe that's why they're.
I didn't ask questions. I was just like, go ahead and put that animal on your reservation now, sir. Please and thank you. I mean, was it? It might have been Turkish Airlines because I think he was going to Pakistan.
Oh wow!
He was going to Pakistan. So yeah, we do any place. Like right now, we're working on the rules for like even Afghanistan. Anywhere you're traveling with your pet, we'll help you. Just weird, but
yeah, no. Oh gosh. Well, tell me, what countries have you focused on as far as transporting pets? What have been your
the countries that we've done the most of is really Europe, all over Europe. Okay. So France, Sweden, Germany, of course, the UK, Ireland, some islands, Jamaica, South America, a lot. A lot of people are moving to South America and then Southeast Asia, Vietnam. Vietnam is a popular one. I'm not sure what's going on in Vietnam, but it's been very popular lately. Yeah, they're moving there. They're not even coming back. They're just moving to Vietnam. And DR. DR is a big one. And that one is a high-risk rabies country.
Yeah, DR. Yeah.
So I have to tell them, I'm like, okay, are you going to bring your pet back? Because if you are, we have to do another certificate. And what was crazy is that we've done like UAE, and UAE is also a high-risk rabies country, but they're crazy about their rules. Their rules are very like strict, which is ironic, but they're also high risk. So we make sure that they have, the both certificates. So the one to go that's endorsed, the high rabies, and then a lot of those countries, you also, not DR, but like UAE, Jamaica, you have to work with their government entity as well. So we help with all of that.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That is good. Yeah, with folks going to DR, why we're saying that's a big deal, and I don't know if they're moving there fully or just going for visit.
No, some of them are coming back.
They have to realize you have to meet CDC's requirements upon returning. Before you leave the United States, there's a CERF, it's a certificate of rabies examination or something, something for CERF, so it's a vaccination. Please get that form before you leave the country from your veterinarian.
Yes, and I've had to I have a lady that's like going to Nigeria. Nigeria is also a high risk for rabies. And I'm like, girl, you have to get that before you go, or else your dog might have to be quarantined when you get back. So just get it. Just get it. Even if you think you might not come back, go ahead and get it. Because suppose you decide to come back for whatever reason, then it just causes so many issues.
Yeah. Look, from my experience working with CDC, CDC regulates the importation of dogs coming back into the country. Mm-hmm. I remember when it was easy to bring any animal into the country. Now it is more stringent since 2024. There's new regulations out that must be met. And you can't just say, come in. You can't just say that your pet is, you can come in. Oh my God. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Oh. Sorry. Thank you. I apologize.
No, you're good.
Had someone cleaning for me, so I apologize. I was paying it. But no, you can't just say that your dog is a U.S. dog. Maybe it may have been born and raised in the U.S., but that is
Doesn't
not
matter.
enough to say that they can come back into the country. It doesn't work that way any longer. So they must meet those requirements. And another thing that people don't realize that, or the problem too, and this is to say the idea of microchipping. Some countries don't require pets to be microchipped to go into that to go to that
Yes,
country.
Colombia. I think Colombia is one of them. It
Yeah,
does not require a microchip.
yeah.
Correct.
But when you come back to the United States,
It
as an
does.
entry requirement, they have to be microchipped.
Yes,
So
yes. I've
rabies,
had that conversation before
yeah,
with somebody going to Colombia. Like
yeah,
if they don't get I mean, they have to be microchipped with
yeah.
the ISO microchip before,
Mm-hmm,
you just do it before you leave if you're gonna in any
mm-hmm,
way think you might come back. But I mean,
mm-hmm.
they still require, of course, rabies and vaccines and stuff like that.
Right. But make
But
sure all of that is in order. So before you leave the United States, make sure your pet has all the requirements to come
yep,
back to the United
yep,
States.
yep.
So as it will cost you big time
A
going to
lot
these high
more.
risk countries, because then you're limited on where you can come into the country. I don't know if
Yep.
folks know that you're
Had that
limited on where you
conversation.
can enter the United States too, based
Yes.
on that. So make
I
sure
think
you meet all those requirements. Yeah.
yeah, Dulles, Atlanta, and there's some others as well, but you
Yeah.
can't go to just any
Los
airport.
Angeles, let's see, LAX has two, New York with the ARC at JFK. Here in
Yes.
Atlanta has Pet Connect.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, they're scattered. But
Exactly.
you're limited at
Yep.
this. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, goodness gracious, we hit a lot so far. Anything further you want to add as far as what are your recommendations for folks traveling internationally with their pets? What should they do?
First of all, make sure their rabies is current today. Make sure their rabies is current. Their animal has microchip before rabies, and that's the biggest thing that you could do to help you
Mhm,
today. So do
mhm.
not lapse on rabies. And really, you shouldn't lapse on rabies anyway because you do not want to bring rabies into your home. It is a killer.
Yeah.
Like,
And there's
pretty,
been cases out. There's been cases
yes,
where recently.
yes, I've seen.
Um, there was something in the news about, I don't remember what state it was, but a dog killed a baby raccoon and contracted rabies from it.
Yeah, I can't. Just the thought
So
of it.
get your dogs vaccinated, and cats vaccinated against rabies, never lapse on it.
Mhm.
I also ran into a situation where I was working basically wellness clinic, vaccine clinics over the weekend, and I noticed with some of the records, um, this one dog was getting a rabies vaccination and it had expired. Okay, it had expired, and tech tells me, "Oh well, we were going to go ahead and just give it a 3-year rabies for the next one." I said, "No, no, 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 it expired on this date. I don't give any leeway, and the manufacturer doesn't give a leeway either, as far as saying, oh well, if it expired, you have 5 days, and then you can."
No, you don't. There's no leeway. It just expires as
Anymore.
expired.
But what they were doing was, because the person wanted a 3-year rabies, like,
Hmm.
no, you cannot get a 3-year rabies, even though technically it is, in my opinion, I don't think I'm wrong with this, but technically it's the same vaccine. I can't extend it for 3 years because it expired. This is only good for 1 year, period.
If it
That's
expired, it expired.
yeah. So, but in that environment, they're getting misinformation and thinking, and then down the line, if they want to travel, they find out they're going to run into hiccups, because when you review that vaccine history and you start seeing these lapses, and you're like, no, we have to revaccinate your dog, because
Literally.
yeah, it's not right. So be folks out using wellness clinics, which are great to save money and take care of your pet, but don't think that being lax on your rabies vaccination will allow
At
you
least get that one. If you don't get, I mean, you should get all of them. I'm a
yeah.
pro vaccine kind of gal.
Mhm.
Very much. Are there any new ones I can get right now? I don't know. Let me go see.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
just
that
make
kind of
sure they're
person.
fully vaccinated and protected. But rabies,
Yes,
of course, is definitely
please.
the most important one.
Please.
You don't want to
Please.
lapse on.
And do your wellness with a lot of vets will work with you on like wellness visits. So take your dog and your cats and make sure they're, vaccinated. They go to their wellness visits. Their health is, as good as possible. I know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not one to talk. I've got a chubby little dog. I need to work on that myself, but
Uh-huh.
I have a chubby little dog like me. But another thing is that with this tool that I'm creating, if anybody wants to beta test it, please feel free to shoot me a message on LinkedIn. I'm happy to have beta testers for whatever they need. I mean, just beta test it for me.
Mhm.
Right now, we have at least one shipper that's working with us, and we're working their cases now. And we're happy to help anybody else work their cases through the app because it does make it a lot more streamlined and easier. And it literally will tell you everything you need for any animal going to any country. I've written the tool to do that.
That's wonderful. We should definitely talk a little bit after this because I have a few ideas also with it. So let's.
Okay, yeah, for real.
To that.
Awesome.
And stuff.
Yeah, I would love to this weekend I'm basically tooling it a little bit more. So if you want to talk a little bit later and we can figure out if there's anything you suggest, I'm happy to tool it more.
Okay, love it.
The best possible thing ever.
Yeah, it is. It's a wonderful idea. Wonderful.
Yeah, and it's more than an idea, it's there.
No, see, you took an idea and made it into fruition, as they say. You made it happen. So that's awesome. That is good. An engineering mind. That's good.
I can't see a problem and think, I cannot fix that. I see a problem and I'm like, I can find a solution to that.
That's nice. That's wonderful. That's good. And actually, and I think it's great. And I'm glad I met you too, because as far as everything that I've done, I saw a problem and I'm trying to fix it. I may not be an engineer I'm not a coder and all the other stuff like that, but in my way of just finding a way to just share that information out to make change.
It's very important, right? I mean, when I was younger and I used to live in New York when I was a kid. I'm a New
Yorker too.
Yeah. So I used to go to this thing called, have you ever heard of Each One Teach One?
I've heard of it. Yes.
Yeah. So I used to do Each One Teach One when I was a teenager. Used to go there and we would do volunteer work. We would go and meet different business people in New York and hang out at their brownstone and learn what they do. It was fun. But the whole concept is, each one teach one. So this is a world where we kind of show each other our knowledge, help each other thrive in whatever we're doing. And that's what it's about. It's about each one teach one at the end of the day.
Love it. Well, I'm so happy I met you. We've connected.
Me too.
For this podcast, because this has been a fun conversation, I think. So very happy for everyone joining us today. Do you have any other final words before we go? Or
just if you want to be part of the beta, hit me up. I am here. And it was lovely talking to you today. Everybody loves you, by the way. I cannot talk to anybody and they're not like, we love Nelva, we love her so much. And I'm like, yeah, she's pretty cool. So and everybody have a wonderful day and thank you for listening.
Yep. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll be back with you next week with, I believe, Dr. Doug Mader. He is a author, exotic veterinarian, but we're going to meet with him again. He's a returning guest. So join us next week. Thank you for joining us today, and bye-bye.
Bye.
Don't go. Don't go.